during his invasion of Asia, the mighty leader, Alexander the Great, is chronicled as witnessing UFOs. These incidents were officially written by his personal historian, Callisthenes of Olynthos. While crossing a river in 329 before Christ, Alexander and his men observed what is described as gleaming silver shields in the sky. The objects repeatedly swooped down on a column of soldiers, scattering men and horses in a panic. 7 years later, while attacking the Phoenician city of Tyre in the eastern Mediterranean, Alexander again encounters UFOs. Recorded by observers on both sides of the conflict, one of the objects shoots down a beam of light at the city wall, which crumbles into dust, allowing Alexander and his troops to easily breach the defenses and take the city. These flying silver shields description fit perfectly with a common UFO report of flying saucers.
Mayan astronomers being so advanced and sophisticated, it seems likely that they consciously devised their long count calendar to end on the 21st of December 2012. On this date, the Earth completes a rare cycle around its axis, and the Sun moves to the very center of our galaxy, the Milky Way. But did the astronomers believe that this cosmic occurrence would necessarily trigger a world-ending catastrophe? They may have left clues in sacred texts and on the walls of the ball court, but a definitive answer remains elusive.
This grand plan is going to take people are going to eat the stuff. Because it says given spirits will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet, unless something seriously proper is done to avoid it.
The calendar advances. Galactic forces move into alignment. The Mayan prophecy approaches. What will happen on that fateful day, the 21st of December, 2012? The answer, according to the scholars who have decoded it, may be found on the last page of the Dresden Codex.
In the Dresden Codex, what you have is a series of astronomical events that are predicted. It has the Venus cycles, it has lunar cycles, it has eclipse cycles, and then the last page of the Dresden Codex actually shows the destruction of the world via water. And so the Maya conceived of a doomsday scenario.
This graphic illustration depicts the destruction of the Earth by flood. Waves gush from the mouth of a celestial dragon. More flood waters pour from sun and moon symbols on the underside of the monster's body. An aged goddess pours a jar of flood water onto the Earth. At the bottom of the picture crouches a ruler of the underworld. Above the picture, about half of the 15 glyphs have been destroyed, but a few of the remaining ones consistently refer to Black Earth and Black on High. Did the Maya predict their own collapse and so obediently submit to it? The 900 AD time estimate places the Great Demise in Katun 10 in the calendar cycle. According to the words of Chalam Balam, the prophecy for this Katun warns of bleak times ahead. There is trouble in the land once again. This Katun brings drought and famine and is a time of foreign occupation, change, and sadness. This Katun prophecy also reverberated through time during the 20-year cycle that encompassed the Second World War, certainly a time of change, foreign occupation, and great sadness. The Doomsday Prophecy, in spite of all the complex astronomical science behind it, may be stunningly simple after all. Civilizations rise, flourish, and inevitably perish. In the aftermath of downfall, a new order emerges. In fact, the Mayan calendar does suggest that after the year 2012, a new age might emerge. What this would be like is not clear. After 2012, Katun 2 is due to come around once more. Perhaps its prophecy, as recorded by Chalam Balam, offers a clue of what to expect. For half there will be food, for others misfortunes. A time of the end of the word of God. A time for uniting for a cause. From Nostradamus to the Mayan priests, prophets and prophetic traditions the world over warn of cataclysmic planet changes that will soon be upon us.
The ancient Mayans had a sense that there would come a time, about in these times in which we're living now, that would include tremendous destruction. They speak about the day of the withered fruit and the great tempest, things that sound rather scary.
The Hopi Indians speak of trees dying and dramatic changes in the weather that will bring in the day of purification. Nostradamus speaks of the dead rising from their graves, and Mother Shipton warns,
"Storms shall rage and oceans roar, old worlds shall die and new be born."
Casey's predictions for the new millennium are every bit as dire as all the other prophets who preceded him.
Edgar Cayce made some extraordinary and spectacular Earth change predictions. Probably the biggest one was that the rotational axis of the Earth would change. And that's something that would be catastrophic, probably even beyond what we could imagine if that took place literally.
Was Crowley a master of 20th century occult magic, as some have claimed? His beliefs were nothing new. Crowley took his lead from the Egyptians, early occultists who believed that spells could heal the sick and make crops grow. Some things that seem supernatural can often become accepted fact.
Science nowadays really is touching against ideas dealing with where magic and spirituality and religion intersect. And they're both ways of trying to find out about how the world works.
The occult means secret or hidden, and its early masters were regarded as true magicians. But they were also the first scientists. Their discoveries in the occult arts of astrology and alchemy gave birth to modern scientific disciplines. Much of what is called ceremonial magic, the casting of spells, the use of magic words and incantations, came from the Egyptians. When Phoenician traders spread this knowledge throughout the Mediterranean world, magic became practical.
We are speeding up what nature does. We're speeding up the rate at which the metals evolve. We're speeding up the rate at which medicines are combined and raise consciousness. And the church felt that you can't be speeding up God's creation without recourse to demons.
Despite his work in alchemy, Dee's true occult passion lay in divination. He believed that he could apply scientific methods to communicate with supernatural beings. Dee's obsession with contacting the angels would have disastrous consequences. This art of manipulating objects like bones, tea leaves, and tarot cards had arrived from the Muslim East in the 14th century and become a popular method of fortune-telling. But Dee used a divination method known as scrying. Dee relied on looking into a crystal ball that would reflect back supernatural information.
Scrying is a long-time-old technique, scrying into glasses, mirrors, bodies of water, anything that would have a reflective surface, and see if you could see not just the material things, but the spiritual things standing behind.
These efforts were unsuccessful until one day a young man named Edward Kelly appeared at his door. Kelly seemed to have the talent to see into the shadow world.
Their system involved Edward Kelly looking into a amethyst crystal and describing what he saw, and John Dee would then record these communications.
Kelly began receiving messages from the angels. They spoke in a language he called Enochian, from the lost biblical book of Enoch. These transmissions are early examples of what New Age followers now call channeling. He appeared to be speaking a new language.
The Enochian language does appear to have a coherent vocabulary and syntax, and this doesn't seem like the sort of thing that Kelly, who was not a particularly educated or schooled person, could have just invented. He couldn't have faked something like that.
John Dee and Kelly embarked on a tour of Europe to share their discoveries, just as the Inquisition launched another crackdown against heretics.
All you needed was a slight change in political or religious circumstance, and something that was considered exceptionally wonderful would then be considered demonic and scary.
You're with us? What's your name? You're not pushing that, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to keep my fingers on it. L. I. S. Hey, Lisa. Who's Lisa?
Did you push that?
I did not push that.
Seriously, none of you guys pushed that over to the X like that?
No.
Not at all.
Mm-mm.
You guys doing something underneath the table?
No.
No.
So that looked like it moved all on its own.
Give it another shot, see what happens.
Okay.
And you guys are saying you're not pushing this, right?
No.
This thing's just like a regular board straight to Captain Howdy. Not pushing it.
Mm-mm.
Ooh.
Come on, you guys are around, right?
It's too weird for me. Mm-mm. And you want me?
And you didn't push that over like that?
No.
Okay, I just want to double check something here. There is nothing going on underneath you?
No.
Wow, that's pretty jacked up.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians 6:12. The prince of the power of the air, Satan, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. Ephesians 2:2.